प्रतिबोधिताम् भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथिताम् पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्. In the last Sunday's class, we discussed verses 14 and 15 of this chapter 8 called Akshara Parabrahma Yoga. There we learnt that God is attained easily by one who constantly remembers Him and not by those who do not do so. Number 2, those who attain God ever remain in infinite peace and bliss. They never are born again to suffer in this world. Today we shall continue the discussion from verse number 16. Abrahma bhuvanalokaha. Abrahma bhuvanalokaha punaravartinorjuna mam upetyatu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. Abrahma bhuvanat lokaha. Brahma Bhavana. Brahma Bhavana means Brahma Loka. The abode of Brahman. Abode of Brahma, the creator. Means starting with. Starting with the abode of Brahma. Lokaha, all the other worlds. All the other worlds mean there are 14 worlds according to the Puranas. Ours is Bhu, Bhumi, Bhu. Then Antariksha. Over this one, all the stellar world is there. It is called Bhuva. the worlds are created. What about those lokas? So, to say that God's abode is the lasting abode, it never changes. It is an eternal abode by reaching which we don't have to come back again to this world. To again reinforce the statement, this verse goes on saying, up to the highest loka Brahma, Abrahma Bhuvana, Abrahma Loka, up to the abode of Brahman and all other the abodes below that one, Lokaha, Punaravartinaha, hey Arjuna. O Arjuna, they are all Punaravartinaha. They again and again get recreated. They are created again and again. They get dissolved, again they are created again. So these worlds come back with all their souls inside it. So with the result, if we go to the highest heaven of Brahma also, we have to come back again to the creation. And creation means duality. Duality means suffering. Maybe of a gross variety or of a subtle variety. Wherever there is duality, there will be the high and the low. Whenever there is the high and low, there is some difference, there is a quarrel, there is clash, there is competition. All these things will take place. The place of eternal, infinite peace and joy will not be there. Therefore, Abran Bhuvana Lokaha, starting from the world of abode of Brahman, Brahma the creator, and all other abodes or worlds, they are all Punaravartinaha. They all come back. They recur again in creation. But to Mam Upetya, attaining to me, Sri Krishna says, Punarjanma navidyate. When once they attain to me, they no more are born. Punarjanma navidyate. They don't have rebirth. Rebirth will not take place when once they attain to me. Attaining to Lord means become like the Lord himself. Becoming the Lord means the Lord's biggest definition is that he is Satchit Ananda. Satchidananda. He is eternal existence. He is infinite knowledge and power. He is infinite joy and happiness and love. So when once we attain the infinite joy, when once we attain the infinite knowledge and power, when once we attain to infinite life, why should we come here at all? Here we struggle only for these three. All the struggles of human beings or any being in creation are only for these three. Long life, eternal life. Long life means we don't know what we mean by long life. I want to live long. Do you want to live 100 years? Is 100 years a long period? No. Suppose a Devta is asked. Devta already lives about 1 lakh years. So he would say, no, I want to live longer than that. So when we say long or short, it is very relative. What we want really is eternal life. All of us want to be alive always. We don't want extinction of ourselves. We don't want death or annihilation. So this desire is there. That shows that our desire is for eternal life. Similarly, we want power. We want knowledge. The power comes through knowledge. And how much knowledge you would be satisfied with? The people, more knowledge they get, more power they get. So they want to get more power. So the power is power thirsty they become. Power greedy they become. How much power do they want? They want infinite powers. They want all the powers in the world. They want to rule the Creator himself. So all this power comes with infinite knowledge. Infinite knowledge only is in attaining God. When we become one with God, all his infinite knowledge comes to us also. So then we become all powerful. So by attaining to God, we attain to infinite knowledge and infinite power. Similarly, infinite joy, infinite love is there. So we attain to God means we become like him. So we have attained to infinite joy. So there is no finite joy, there will be no attraction at all. When once a person gets a salary of 1 crore, He does not care for the earlier salary. Some arrears may be pending there in the previous office. He was getting 10,000 rupees a month, but he got a salary 1 crore of rupees per month. Nowadays it is there. They come and then camp recruitment they make. Here is a brilliant boy. I want this fellow as our CEO. 1 crore rupees. When 1 crore is given, will you go on thinking, shall I resign this job of 10,000 rupees? What? Any fool will not think like that. So immediately you resign. He says, no, we cannot clear your account now. You did not clear. I don't care for your 10,000 rupees balance at all. Let it be there. It becomes insignificant. You don't care. So that is why you neither take it or not leave it. You neglect it. So this state comes to a person when he attains to infinite joy of God. There is nothing to expect in this world. We come into this world to enjoy. All enjoyment are there itself. You don't come back to this world. Mamupetyatu kaunteya, attaining to me, hey Arjuna, punarjanma na vidyate. There is no rebirth at all because there is no desire at all to enjoy anything here. Only 3 enjoyments you are after. One was for a long life, second one for power and knowledge, third one for joy and love. All the things you have got in infinite measure in God. Therefore you don't have to come here. All things are got there. You are an absolutely satisfied person. Therefore no janma is possible. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, when a potter makes the pots and he just burns them in the kiln and they become hardened. So then, suppose it is broken for some reason, you cannot recreate again. You cannot make another pot out of it. Whereas a pot which is not burnt, which is only simple clay with water, it is only fresh. Then suppose something happens to it and some cattle tramples over it. So it gets destroyed. He takes it up. Again they mash it and make another pot out of it. Because it is not completely baked in the kiln of knowledge. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, this is the way the human being also, when he gets absolute knowledge and absolute bliss of God, he is like that burnt pot in the kiln that cannot be again remade. No rebirth for that. Whereas if it is not burnt, if it is a wet clay, just it has taken the form and it is now destroyed. Immediately it is taken up, again some water is put, so again another pot is made. Rebirth takes place. So as long as we are not purified by the knowledge, infinite knowledge and infinite love and infinite life of God, we go on taking birth again and again. When once we attain to God, mamupetya, attaining to me, punarjanma na vidyate, there is no rebirth at all. Because there is no cause for rebirth. For everything there must be a cause. What is the cause of our birth? Our desire. Our desire for what? Desire for long life, desire for happiness, desire for power. This is all but all the desires have vanished. Why have they vanished? All of them have been fulfilled. You get them in infinite measure. Therefore, no desire for this limited pleasures here, or limited powers here, or limited life here. So when there is no desire, you don't come back to this creation at all, either in this world or in the subtler worlds of heavens. So by telling this one, he is confirming that to attain to God should be the goal of our life. Because if the goal of our life is, we want infinite joy. Infinite joy you can get only in God. You cannot get anywhere else. Until we attain God, we shall never get infinite joy. Until we get infinite joy, our desire for enjoyment will not go. As long as the desires are there, either we take birth in this world or in the other worlds of Indra, Chandra, Devendra or Brahma. Some world we take birth and then there again we realize, oh, this is not what we wanted. Then again we go for a higher joy, a lasting joy. That will be God. So when do we stop our quest of going in quest for joy or long life when we attain to God. That is the state of perfection. That state of perfection, when we attain, all our desires are fulfilled. All the desires for long life, desires for power and knowledge, and desire for joy and love, all are satisfied. When that is satisfied, we remain there unchanged. We never get any desire at all to come back to any of these created abodes, created heavens or earths, etc. So, God, Sri Krishna says, Abrahma bhuvanalokaha punaravartinaha. Right from the abode of Brahma, the creator, and all other worlds like Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, etc., they are all punaravartinaha. They get recreated. They recur again and again. They are created again and again along with the individual souls in it. And these individual souls want to enjoy it. So they try to get infinite joy there. They get dissatisfied. So they say, no, this is not the thing we wanted. They go higher. So one goes on in quest of higher and higher joy until one attains to God Himself. Therefore, it is the conclusion of Vedanta that people will go on progressing towards the highest perfection, whether you want or not. Everybody will get disgusted with the existing circumstances, because the Atman, the spiritual self within us, it wants infinite joy, whereas whatever joy we get, it's only limited. After some time, so we feel, oh, we have been cheated. We wanted infinite joy, only we got 100 years of joy. So we don't want to be born as men again. Then what do you want to be born? I want to become a Brahma. See, Brahmas, the age is very long. I want to live so long. So when one is born as a Brahma also, after all, just as 100 years pass away, Brahma's 36 crores of years also pass away. Brahma is supposed to live 36 crores of human years. That is his life. 100 years of Brahma is equivalent to 36 crores of human years. But they will also pass away, little by little by little. Then one day Brahma finds, oh, my time is over. He also feels miserable. Is it all? Only one Brahma's life. Oh, he is not satisfied. So with the result, then he says, I don't want Brahma's lokas also. What do you want then? I want the infinite life of God Himself. So we attain to God. We struggle for God realization. So according to Vedanta, slowly the human being, the individual soul, by experiencing the evanescence, the transitoriness, the short-livedness of existence in all the other worlds other than God, then he moves up and up, higher and higher. Then perhaps after 30 births, or maybe 300 births, maybe 3,000 births, we come to the conclusion, only God is to be attained. Nothing else will satisfy me. And then we attain to God. So perfection, desire for perfection must come to the human being. So the intelligent people, wise people like Vivekananda, what do they say? Why do you want to wait for 3,000 janmas, 3,000 births to get this knowledge that God alone is to be attained, and there is no joy in attaining anything less than that? Why should you wait for 300 births? Now itself you start. Now itself you hear the great words of people who have never spoken untruth, who have never spoken anything that is not good for human beings, who have never spoken anything unpractical for the human beings. Such great incarnations like Buddha, Rama, Krishna, Christ, or Sri Ram Krishna, they come and tell us, you will not be satisfied with anything definite. So go for God Himself directly. Then only you will get real satisfaction. Suppose we get convinced by their statements about God, we can start the quest now itself and avoid 2,999 births again. Now itself. What we want is that faith in the great people. So So that's why he says, so until we get the highest, we cannot get satisfied. And we will not aim for the highest. We go on waiting for the desire to come. So we take a human birth, then we are dissatisfied. We want a Gandharva's birth. We take birth as a Gandharva, we are dissatisfied. Then we take the birth of Indra. Then Indra's birth, we are dissatisfied. Then we want to be born as a Chaturmukha Brahma. Then we are born as Chaturmukha Brahma, we are dissatisfied. Then he says, no, we must be like God himself. We want to become one with God. Tattvamasi, you are that Brahman. So we want to become one with Brahman. That desire may come after so many births. It must come. Why do you wait so long? Now itself you do it. That is the teachings of these great people. If we hear the teachings of these great people, if we have faith in their words, we don't have to repeat their experiences again. Human being is supposed to be greater than all the animals. After all, we are also like animals only. Ahar nidra bhayamaitunancha samanyametad pashubhir naranam. Human beings are also like pashu, like the animals only, because we also eat, they also eat. We also procreate, they are also procreate. We are also sleep, they are also sleep. Where is the difference between us? But here, dharmo hi eko adhiko naranam. There is something different in the human beings other than animals. That is, he has faith in the eternal law of God, eternal God. So this faith in God makes the human being different from animals. If we do not have the faith in God and our goal is the attainment of God, we are no different from other animals. Therefore, we have to listen to the words of these great people who tell us about God. So it is not an impractical thing, it is the most practical thing. Instead of wasting 3,000 lives on the same quest, you finish it in one itself. How great economy of time. We talk of time management. Here is time management, the best time management that you can make. Have one janma, finish all that you have to do in the 3,000 janmas which you have to take. This is the best time management the great rishis, great avatara purushas tell us. That's what Sri Krishna says. That up from the world of Brahma himself and all other worlds are again and again created. Again they are dissolved. Again they come back. So there is no joy in going there. But attaining to me, you get free from again and again taking birth. You will be eternally immersed in the infinite joy and love and power and knowledge and infinite life. So you will have attained perfection. So when once it is said, then he said all the worlds are created again and again. Creation means that the end of one life. So then only the creation will start. The death will come, again the creation. We are reborn after the death of this body. Again we assume a body. So the lifespan of all the different beings comes into question. Therefore the next verse takes up the lifespan. When is this Brahma? How long does he live? How long all the other worlds will live? Abrahma Bhuvana Lokaha. All the worlds along with the world of Brahma, they Punaravartina, come again and again. Come again and again means how long do they survive? When once they are created, how long do they survive? Afterwards again they are dissolved, again they are created. So the creation and dissolution goes on with an in-between interval of life. So our life also, what is life? Life is the interval between our birth and death. So this is the interval. Somebody said, we are very sure, not of our life, but our death. Death is the surest thing in the world, in the life. Life is not very sure, because it is only an interval between birth and death. So it just, that interval goes on getting reduced and reduced. So English language is the best language to express the evanescence of life. A child is asked, how old are you? That fellow, from the day he takes birth, he becomes old. So he is become older, one day he disappears. So English is the best language. They have recognized the real truth, that a boy becomes old one is heading towards death. If we are aware of this one, we would never go for life at all. So for every day you are to advance towards death alone. There is no other escape. Everybody is going towards death, but we are not aware of it. So when that question comes, how long each one lives? So that question is taken up in this next verse. Sahasra yuga paryantam aharyad brahmano viduhu ratrim yuga sahasrantam te ahoratra vido janaha. Ahoratra vido janaha, those wise people who know the real day and real night of Brahma himself. What do they say? Sahasra yuga paryantam brahmanaha ahaha iti viduhu. These wise people, they know the life of Brahma is 1000 yuga. Actually, yuga means chatur yuga. 1000 chatur yuga means one day for Brahma. Sahasra yuga paryantam, ending with 1000 chatur yuga. The quartet yuga, the 4 yugas is called chatur yuga. 1000 chatur yugas make the one day of Brahma. Ratrim yuga sahasrantam. The night also is equal to day. Therefore, another 1000 chatur yugas form the night of Brahma. For him, one day and night, that means what we call as 24 hours day, full day. For Brahma means, so there are 2000 chatur yugas. Chatur yugas are calculated as in the human terms, it should be 12,000 years is called a chatur yuga. So 12,000 years is a chatur yuga. 2000 chatur yugas make one day only for the Brahma. So you have to calculate. Then if days, then the weeks, then months, like that 100 years Brahma lives. So we can calculate also. It's not a very big thing. So when you calculate, it comes to that Brahma is 100 years will become 36 crores of human years. 36 human years, crores of human years will be Brahma's 100 years. So if you further calculate, then that means 36 lakhs years is one Brahma's 1 year. We live for 36 lakhs years and only 1 year for Brahma. So he will go on live for 100 years like that. So 36 crores of years of human beings makes one life of Brahma. So this Brahma afterwards, what will happen? He will give up the Brahmaship. He gets merged into God himself. Because to become the Brahma, you must be a very highly spiritual soul. The small desire for ruling the whole world will be there for certain souls. These individual souls are given the place of Brahma. Brahma is not the name of a person, it is the name of a place. So thousands of Brahmas have been there, and we can also become Brahmas. So to become Brahma, there are 2 qualifications. One is, one must be almost about to attain the highest knowledge of spirituality. Without attaining God, we have come very near that. At that time, the body goes away. Then, what would we do? Again coming back to this world where, things are not very favorable for spiritual evolution. Because human beings, almost all of them, have got 50% good tendencies, 50% bad tendencies. This is the qualification of human birth. When you have got more merit, more punya, more good acts for your credit, you go away to heaven. And when you have got more credit to bad action, you go away to hell. Who will come into these human beings? 50%. He is that way or that way? 50. So they are given a chance here. That is why human beings can become good, can become bad also. You do not know. Most unpredictable person. Somebody said, why do your 4-year plans fail? He said, because there is an unpredictable element, that the human being. When the human being is there as an element of planning, so you put a man, so and so is our planning commissioner. He himself you cannot believe. You sanction money, he will not release that money at all. All his term is gone, he has not spent his money at all. So many states are given, you spend all this money. All the officers sit over that paper. They never move the paper at all. And their ministry is gone. And the whole money remains unspent. Why have we not spent? What could we do? We could not do. There was this trouble, that trouble. In a way, the effect is the human elements have spoiled the whole plan. Unpredictable, most unpredictable. Why unpredictable? 50%. 50% good and 50% bad. Now he becomes good means he may become a very honest person. He may work 24 hours a day for the welfare of others. Suppose it turns the other way around. 24 hours he will be planning the ruination of others. How to spoil somebody else's prospect. Whether I do have prospect or not is one thing. Let me spoil the prospect of the next man. That will be the aim of so many. This happens in case of human beings. In this world, if we come back again after attaining to the high level of about to attain Brahmajnana, I am going to die. In that case, what would I ask for? I don't want to come back to this world, but I want to continue my sadhana somewhere else and attain to God. I don't want to attain to God, come back here. Such souls are there. It is called the Krama Mukti, the emancipation or attainment to moksha, attainment to God by steps, gradual. So this Krama Mukti, the attainment to moksha gradually comes in the case of some souls. They go and occupy the place in Brahmaloka. Along with Brahma, they also live in Brahmaloka. They go on doing tapasya and practicing spiritual austerities, which was remaining as balance. That when they finish, they go away into Brahmajnana. So one type of beings there that are in Brahmaloka, they are of this type. The second type in Brahmaloka are those people who have done wonderfully good acts, like Ashwamedha Yaga. Ashwamedha Yaga, the sacrifice of horse, which is supposed to be the biggest sacrifice that is mentioned in the Vedas. So it would take the whole kingdom's money and treasury, all the people, to perform one Ashwamedha Yaga. Suppose somebody performs 100 Ashwamedha Yaga, then he becomes an Indra. Then, being an Indra for 100 times, he will acquire so much merit, then he will become a Brahma. So he can go to Brahmaloka. By doing good deeds only, they have gone to Brahmaloka. But they will not attain to Brahmajnana or the final emancipation, moksha. They come back again. When all the worlds are created, Brahma Bhuvana Lokaha. From the Brahma's Loka to the other worlds, when they are created, they are also get created. They come back. And again, they have to do good works to go to Brahmaloka. So, therefore, in Brahmaloka also, there are two types of inhabitants there. One who have gone there through meritorious deeds, another who have gone there through meditation and spiritual austerities. The spiritual people, they will not come back. They remain there. When the next Brahmaloka is created again, the present one is destroyed, they never get destroyed. They are doing their own austerities. Then again, when the next Brahmaloka is created, they are continuing in the next Brahmaloka. They never come back to this earth. But most of the other inhabitants who have all gone there through meritorious deeds, they come back and they have to do again all the good meritorious deeds to deserve to go to Brahmaloka. So the Brahmaloka is described. How long will this Brahmaloka last? So this is 36 crores of years for one Brahma. So what the Brahmaloka, one life of Brahma of 100 years means 36 crores of years people will be there, and afterwards that Brahmaloka is dissolved. Again another Brahmaloka comes, another Brahma also comes. So one of our Sanskrit professors used to tell the story about this Brahma. One day this Brahma got disgusted. Why disgusted? Because all people curse Brahma. Anything happens means, you see that Brahma, he has written like this on my head, the wrong thing, that is why I am suffering. That Brahma should be cursed. So he said, for all the things, the bad they get, they go on cursing me. I don't want this job at all. Cursed job to getting everybody's curse. I resign, he said. Then Vishnu is the protector. So he said, no, don't do like that. Hey, this happens wherever you are. We are also here, I am protecting. Me also, so many people, this curse. So suppose something bad happens to them, that God has no eyes at all. God has become blind suddenly. So God has no ears at all, he does not hear my prayer. So they go all cursing me also. But I continue to do my job. Why don't you do? But this Brahma was very adamant. No, I don't want any more curses, so take this resignation. Then per force, Vishnu had to accept his resignation. But anyway, I keep this pending. You rethink over it. So you can come back and tell me within another 24 hours. So Brahma was returning from Vishnu's place. When he comes out, he found a big procession in the main road. So many people are coming. Some are sitting on the elephant, some are on the horse, some are on the camels. Big procession is coming. 1,000 people. He asked somebody, the next person, what is this procession? These are all Brahmas. These are all the other souls who are waiting for Brahmaship. So they have come with their applications now. They have heard that you have resigned here. Therefore they are all coming with applications. 1,000 Brahmas are there. The would-be Brahmas. Then he said, is it such a great demand for this? He ran back to Vishnu, withdrew his resignation. Went away. So Brahma lives for a long period of 36 crore years. But 36 crore years is after all a limited year. That will also go away. And again the haunting of death will start. There is a death for Brahma also. End for Brahma also. Therefore, there is no joy in going to the Brahmaloka also. That is the idea. Ratrim yuga sahasrantam te ahoratra vido janaha. Those people, wise people, who have attained to the highest, who are eternal beings, they see all the Brahmas. They live long, but not eternally. They also come and go after 36 crores of years. Then what follows that? Avyaktad vyaktayas sarvaha prabhavanti aharagame. Ratriagame praliyante tatraiva avyakta sanjike. When the Brahma is awake, the whole worlds are awake. When he goes to sleep, whole worlds are again dissolved into him. It can be compared to our waking state and the deep sleep state. So we also are awake for 12 hours in a general way. 12 hours we are awake and 12 hours we are also asleep. The night is 12 hours and 12 hours day. So during daytime the whole creation we see. But when we are in deep sleep, where is this world? The world is no more. If the world is no more, the next day morning, what is the world that you see? That is there, that it has dissolved, it has become very, very subtle. Our mind has taken a very subtle form. That is, we have gone deep into what you call as deep sleep, sushupti, deep sleep. In the sushupti state, our mind that is now awake, so it goes into a sort of a stupor. Then all these worlds that we see, they are there in a seed form there. When we get up again, we throw that world again out. Then we see the world. So we create the world out of our own that deep stupor state, which is called the avyakta state, unmanifested state of this world. We go into that one in our deep sleep. Our mind is there, not that in deep sleep where nothing is there. It is there, the whole mind, through which we see the world, through which we recognize things, all the memories of not only this life, memories of all the hundreds and thousands of lives we have lived. It is all there in the mind. So that all gets into a state of darkness, unmanifested state, avyakta state. So this unmanifested state is the deep sleep state, where the whole world is there. Because next day morning when we open, just first of all, we do not know where we are. Then, we are here. In Chennai, we are there. Then, of course, the consciousness comes. I am in my room. My house is there. And my street is there. So, our address will you remember. Then, the people in your family remember. The whole world comes back to you. This whole world was there inside you, but you did not see it. You were in a state of stupor, sushupti, deep sleep. Just like that, Brahma also sleeps for 1,000 Chaturyugas. So during that period, none of us will be existing. We will all be in a seed form inside this Brahma. Then he opens his eyes and he is awake for another 12,000 Chaturyugas. Then the world is there. All the worlds move about. They do good, bad, run about. Again the third, when he sleeps, the world is dissolved. When he awakes, the world is created. It go on for the 365 in a year, 100 years for Brahma. Then the whole thing will end. That's called the pralaya. The dissolution of the whole creation will take place. Avyaktat vyaktaya sarvaha ahar agame prabhavanti. Ahar agame, when the day for Brahma arrives, the day is 12,000 Chaturyugas there. So when it dawns, then all the individual souls, men, women, and different beings in the earth, different beings in the heavens, different beings in the hells, all the beings, prabhavanti, they get alive, they get created. So they move about, they go about their own duties. And where do they come from? Avyaktate, from the unmanifested state. In the unmanifested state, they were inside Brahma. They get created out of his own mind, just as we see our world when we are awake. And this awakened world cannot come from nothing. It is there. It was in a seed form. When we were asleep also, it was in us. So it was sleeping in a seed form. When we get awakened, all the seeds get sprouted. We see the manifested world. Just as we have a day and night. In day we see the creation. In the night it is all in a seed form. Similarly, in the case of Brahma, avyaktate, a state of avyakta, unmanifest state comes. That is his sleep. In that state of unmanifestation of the whole creation, vyaktaya sarvaha, they are created again when Brahma gets awakened. And again when the night of Brahma comes, tat ratri agame, when the night of Brahma comes again, avyakta sanyike tatra eva praliyante. Into the same unmanifest state they go back. So these worlds come back and forth. They are created, they go back in. They are created, they go back. So this goes on for the whole life of Brahma. So when once it's there, then the creation ends. Then again the new creation starts. So to say, a new age. Say the yuga is over. The one Sahasra Yuga, 2000 Sahasra Chaturyugas are over. Then it is called Mahapralaya. Brahma himself gets changed. So another Brahma comes. So he lives for 100 years. So the creation comes and goes and comes and goes into an unmanifested state, comes back into a manifested state. The one thing that is noted here is, you see how scientifically our rishis have stated the creation and destruction. In no other scriptures in the world, except the Vedanta, we have the creation is considered as a pre-existent one. We have known what you call as conservation of energy, that there can be no creation of energy. Only you can transform one energy to another. You can neither destroy nor create energy. So this is the most scientific attitude towards everything. Our people knew it. Therefore this whole universe was not created out of nothing. So in other scriptures when you read, the world was created out of nothing. How can you create out of nothing? In our logic, the first thing is that he told is, you must have a karana for a karya. For anything to happen, there must be a reason for it. There must be a seed for it. Without a karana, without a cause, there can be no effect. This is the first point of our Indian logic. So if the world is to be there, there must be something behind it. Maybe an unmanifested form. So from unmanifested state, it becomes a manifested state. This is what we call as creation. Then destruction means not completely disappearing and becoming zero. It goes back into the unmanifest state. It is something like taking a lump of clay. Some create the pots and pans, etc., out of that one. So creation has taken place. Then that mash all these pots and pans, make it back into a lump of clay. It goes back. Where are the pots and pans? No, they are all destroyed. Destroyed means not completely. They have gone back into their cause. They are in the causal state, unmanifest state. Again they may manifest as pots, pans, etc. So this is how we consider the creation and destruction of the universe. It is a manifestation from the unmanifest state and returning to the unmanifest state. So this is dissolution. Creation and dissolution are very scientifically analyzed. So Ratriagame, when the night of Brahma comes, Tatraiva Avyakta Sanyike Praliyante. In that very unmanifest state, they enter back. So the whole universe, they go back into the unmanifest state. Again from that unmanifest state, they are thrown back into the created state again. In that case, suppose all of us have done so much good, all of us are supposed to enjoy the fruits of our good acts. We have all come here and we have heard about Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna's words. So hearing Sri Krishna's words is not an ordinary joke. We have created so much of punya, merit. So for this merit we must have some enjoyment. It is assured in the Shastras. If a man does something good, he must get some enjoyment for that one. We are all supposed to enjoy. Suppose tomorrow the dissolution takes place. Suppose tomorrow the whole creation is dissolved. We do not know when the dissolution comes. No, it may be the last day we are living here. Suddenly tomorrow morning we find we are all in the unmanifested state. So we are no more, the world is not there at all. How to enjoy my punya that I have earned? I have gone to so many Gita classes, I have done so much of merit, I must have enjoyed, but there is no scope at all. There is no worry. You just wait for some time. Afterwards, again when the creation comes, you yourself will go back into the same world. And then all your merits will be are there on the record. So according to the merits you enjoy, you will get the enjoyment. Nobody's enjoyment that is already done, the punya that is done, can be destroyed. It comes back to him. The same jivas come back in the next creation. Not that once it is dissolved, we all disappear, and after somebody else will come in the next creation. Same fellows we come again. Until all of us get released from these desires of ours for this conditioned small pleasures, we go on coming back and again, and we enjoy or suffer according to our good deeds or bad deeds. So that is taken up in the next sloka. Bhutagramaha sayeva ayam bhutva praliyate ratriagame avashapartha prabhavati aharagame. Sayeva bhutagramaha bhutva praliyate. Sayeva bhutagrama. The same group of beings, group of individual souls that have done good deeds, that have done bad deeds, the same group of people, bhutva praliyate. They take birth again and again, and they get dissolved again and again. That means nothing is destroyed. Whatever good we have done is also preserved. Whatever bad we have done, that also is preserved. And we get our joys and sorrows according to our good and bad deeds. They never get destroyed. There may be millions and millions of years, several Brahmas coming and going, but the karma of each individual is there permanently with him until he realizes the highest. The karma of each individual is attached to him. So we have to suffer for our bad deeds, we have to enjoy our good deeds. It goes on. How long? Until we say we don't want our suffering also, we don't want our enjoyment also. When we say that one, then your account is closed. You go. You have nothing to do with the bank. You need not go to the bank at all. Until then, you have to go either to pay your credit or deposit your amount and have a credit balance. Either credit or debit, you have to be having connection with the bank. Whereas I don't want to do anything with the bank, but close down the account. That means both the credit is gone and debit also is gone. Both must go. So Sri Krishna says, If you want to come to me, close down this worldly account. So neither good nor bad. Don't accept both. I don't want good or I don't want bad. Then what do you want? I want to serve you. I have come here, let me serve you and you take care of me, and whatever I do is your responsibility. Now servant is there. He is standing in there. He is the sentry for the building. So sentry is standing there. A cow tries to enter the gate. He just takes a stick and drives the cow out. And then he beats the cow and the cow goes away. Perhaps he has given 2 or 3 beatings. So that cries and goes. It is a bad deed. So it is a bad karma. But it does not affect the servant. It affects the man who has appointed him. That fellow who has beaten that cow, you asked him, hey, don't allow any cow, you told. He only obeyed you. So you said, so not to allow the cow. Cow does not understand the language. Oh, cow, don't enter, it will not. So it has to be beaten only. So when he bet, so the cow had got the injury, so that sin must go. Where will it go? It will go to that manager who has appointed such a person. So he is only a servant. So he neither acquires either sin or goodness. Or somebody comes and then he says, this servant is very good. They praise him. That praise also he cannot take. He cannot go and say, sir, they have praised me, therefore you give me increment. He says, I have appointed you to keep the door and you be a sentry in my door. Whether somebody praises or not, it does not. I don't care for it. Get out. What I give you only is the promotion. You cannot ask for extra promotion because somebody has praised you as a good sentry. He will neither get good nor bad. He is only a servant of the manager. So all the good and bad will go to the manager. He is free. Similarly, when we say, oh God, we neither want good nor bad. So I don't neither want punya or papa, sin or merit. Both you take. What do I want? I want to get your love and the normal increment that I want. Normal protection and other insurance and whatever it is that is available to you through our agreement of employment. So you have kept me in this world, let me do my duties and offer it at your feet. You take care of me. Whatever I want, you give me. You see that I live in peace here. Afterwards I come back to you. I want your grace only. I don't want sin. I don't want merit. I don't want good things or bad things. Whatever I do, I offer it to you. So this attitude when it comes, then the punya and papa, the merit and the demerit, does not affect us. Until then we go on coming and going back in the creation as well as dissolution. The creation takes place when the Brahma is awake, and the dissolution takes place when he goes into sleep. So in that one, all the individual souls, they are created sayeva bhutagramaha, the very same beings that were there doing good and bad in one creation, bhutva, continuing for certain time, praliyate, they are dissolved. And again, ratriagame, during the night they are dissolved. Again, aharagame prabhavanti. At the beginning of the day of Brahma, the same beings are created to enjoy or suffer according to their own karma of the previous cycles. So we believe in the cyclic movement of time. We never believe in the straight line movement. So straight line goes on improving. There will be a wonderful state when there will be no bad at all. The bad goes on getting reduced, and at a time the whole universe will be full of only good people. It never happens. It is a cycle. So you go on, the cycle moves from the lower point, goes to the topmost. Again the topmost comes back. So it moves in cycles. So this creation and dissolution move in cycles. So if all that is happening, then what will happen to those people who want to get out of this circle? Creation and destruction is there. Creation and destruction, whenever creation takes place, we find ourselves fettered by our own karma. So our own samskara, the impressions of our past life, goads us on to do certain things. So we do certain things, though we acquire some more impressions. So the impressions drive us to action, and the action creates the impression again for us. So there is no escape at all. We don't want to be in this cycle. We want to go to God where there is infinite joy, infinite peace. How to do that one? So next verse takes up that topic. So, lokanam anityatvam prapancha parameshwara swarupasya nityatvam prapanchayati. After describing the transitoriness of all the creation, now the Lord takes up the topic of the permanence, the eternality, the infinite existence of God and His abode. Parastasmattu bhavo nyo avyakto avyaktat sanatanaha yassa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. Tasmattu bhavaha anyaha avyaktat avyaktat sanatanaha paraha. There is one supreme being, paraha. Tasmattu bhavaha anyaha. Those beings that are being created and then they are again dissolved. From them he is different. The infinite Lord, God Himself also is there. When the creation is taking place, God also is there in every one of us. Inside us, we are the Atman. This Atman does not get destroyed. The Atman does not get either punya or papa. It is pure. It is untrammeled. It is untouched by any good or bad. It is the mind which is called the linga sharira. It is called the causal body. So it is the causal body that contains all these impressions of good and bad. But inside that causal body is that infinite Atman. This paraha, this supreme being, tasmate, from this other being that are created and destroyed, this Atman does not get either created or destroyed or dissolved. He is eternally there. Anyo avyakto avyaktate sanatana. This sanatana para. Sanatana means eternal. This eternal being of ourself as Atman, we are neither dissolved nor are we created. Our own bodies and minds are created and then dissolved. So bodies come and go. This Atman remains the same. So yaha sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. Nashyatsu sarveshu bhuteshu na vinashyati. This Atman, when all the other beings, that means the bodies and minds of different beings, are being created and dissolved and again created and dissolved, what is happening to this Atman? Atman remains untouched by it. It is eternally there as a witness. We are there. We say that we are the same person. Everybody asks, who are you? Swami, didn't you see when you came to Trichy in 1954, I was there. We see this fellow in 1954, he was only a baby. Now today he has become almost a 60-year-old man. He says, who is that? I am the same. Who is the same? Are you the same baby who were walking on fours? Now you are driving your car and coming to me as an old man. Are you the same? Where is that sameness? What is it that is common for that baby and to this old body? Unchanging Atman. That is a unity. That is what we say. Sir, haven't you seen? I am the same person. What is it sameness that you see? Without our knowledge, you are referring to our Atman. So a baby says, when you came to our house, I was only 2-year-old. Now I am 18-year-old. So 18-year and 2-year, as far as body is concerned, there is no relationship at all. He was there like a toddler. Now he has become a young man. You cannot say that same body is here. Nor the mind. He was a foolish child. Now he is perhaps a winner of some national award, a brilliant scholar of some scientific research. Mind also cannot be the same. Mind is not the same, body is not the same. Yet he says, I am the same. Where is that sameness? That one current that is continuing unchanged is our Atman. It does not change. It is the child when he says, I was the same Atman having that small body. I have developed it like this. Body and mind has gone. I am the same. We tell it without knowing what we tell. He is referring to that. Parastasmattu bhavo anyaha. There is one being Sanatana, eternal. He is eternal. He is different from this manifested and unmanifested beings. In the form of bodies and minds, so many bodies and minds are being manifested and destroyed. But the Atman does not get manifested or destroyed. He remains the same. So, Yaha, that Atman, Sarveshu Bhuteshu Nashyatsu. Among the dissolved beings, he does not get dissolved. The bodies and minds, they get dissolved. They are again created. Whereas the Atman remains the same. So when he realizes, I am different from either creation or from destruction. I am neither born nor am I going to die. We have realized our real self. This is the self which we have to know, which we have already, only we have forgotten it. We have forgotten, instead of this telling that I am neither born, I am neither dead, na I am Atma. This Atman does not take birth. So it na jayate na mriyate va kadachit. It is neither born nor it neither dies. If we know this knowledge, we have known our Atman. This Atman is the infinite being that is inside every one of us. We are that being. So this does not get destroyed along with the bodies and the minds that are thrown out in creation, that are again dissolved in dissolution. So, nashyatsu bhuteshu sarveshu sa na vinashyati. He does not get dissolved when all other beings are getting dissolved. That means he is different from the bodies and the minds that are created and destroyed. The Atman remains unchanged, untouched, pure and eternally free, eternally blissful. This Atman is our real self. So we come to that point in our next discourse. Vasudeva sutan devam kamsachanura mardanam devaki paramanandam krishnam vande jagadgurum.